Howdy, Albert Moore of Blue Jacket Archery here this afternoon. Nice sunny day here in western Pennsylvania. A little bit chilly, so I got a jacket on, but hey, today we're featuring the Bear Constrictor Crossbow here. It's a new bow for Bear for 2020, and we're going to show you the type of accuracy that we can expect out of this bow at 50 yards. Now, for those of you that are of delicate feelings, that are easily offended, I suggest you stop watching now, because in about 3 seconds, somebody out there is going to get an earful. Now, people are going to say, why are we doing it only at 50? How come we're not doing it at 100 yards like Raven or like some of the other bow companies out there? Let me tell you something, folks. We shot many of these bows at 100 yards. And the conclusion that we came to from an endeavor such as that is absolutely stupid and absolutely asinine. Anybody that tries to shoot a deer or any animal with any crossbow or regular bow at 100 yards is absolutely an idiot. Now, I don't like calling people idiots, but I'm telling you, we've tried this, and let me tell you something. There are so many variables out of your control. Once that bow goes off at 100 yards, your chances of hitting and killing that animal are so remote, it's just not worth doing it. It shows a complete lack of sportsmanship. It shows a complete lack of integrity. It shows a complete lack of concern and a complete disregard for the animal you're shooting. The variables I'm talking about are this. If you cant that bow at all, we've done it. We just got done doing it with this bow at 100 yards. And if you cant that bow at all, I don't care if it's 1 or 2 degrees, you are going to either A, miss that animal completely, hopefully, or B, you're going to wound that thing. You're either going to hit it in the rear end or you're going to hit it in the face somewhere. So I'm telling you, I don't care what bow company tells you their bows are accurate at 100 yards. They very well may be. This one held about an 8 or 10 inch group at 100 yards. All right, so the group isn't what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about a little bit of wind out there that you don't have back here. I'm talking about canting that bow at all. You're going to veer left and right. I lost 4 arrows doing this already because I had the bow canted just a little bit and I missed completely. Now, another variable I'm talking about that people don't think of, if that deer or that elk, whatever, if all 4 of his legs are cemented in concrete and he can't move, okay, fine, go ahead and take a crack at him at 100 yards because he's not going to take off wounded with an arrow in him. But outside of that, so the animal can move. If that animal takes one little step forward to get to the next bite of clover or the next bite of grass, you just got a wounded animal that your chances of recovery are very, very slim. Very slim. There's too many variables, people. You got the wind, you got canning the bow. How well is the bow made to begin with? Most of those bows that you're shooting 200 plus yards at, 100 plus yards at, are $2,000 plus. This bow's $600 with everything on it. So, like I said before, if anybody out there, the guys, how do I want to say this, people? The people that would try to shoot any animal at 100 yards with any bow, do us all a favor. Leave the woods, sell off your equipment, and take up some sissy sport like badminton or croquet, and leave the woods to the people that actually care for the animals, that actually have a concern, that actually have a regard for the majestic animals that you're trying to harvest. Don't be, if you're more concerned about bragging rights because your bow will shoot, you think your bow will kill things at 100 yards, leave the woods. Leave the woods to the people that actually care. Leave the woods to the people that actually that display a little bit of sportsmanlike conduct and have a little bit of integrity and a little bit of character and concern for the animal they're hunting. So that's why we're doing it at 50 yards. As far as I'm concerned, any bow, the effective range, the accurate, ethical, effective range of any bow, period, on an animal is no more than 50 yards max. Absolutely no more than 50 yards. Why? Well, for one thing, we had a timer here the other day at 100 yards. It takes that bolt a full 2 seconds from the time it leaves that bow to get to that target at 100 yards. Full 2 seconds. And people say, well, the bow's not very fast. That bow's shooting 410 foot a second. It shoots just as fast. So we shot through the chronograph at 409. All right, it's rated at 410, but we got 409 out of it. It's just as fast as just about all of those $2,000+ crossbows. So you have to make up your mind. Do you want to spend $2,400 on a bow that might be a little bit more accurate than this one at 100, or do you want to spend $1,700 less on a bow that's perfectly more accurate enough at an ethical distance of 50 yards and under? So that said, now that I'm done ranting and raving a little bit and peeling people for being the stupid asinine stunt at 100 yards, absolutely stupid. Now, we're going to show you what this bow is capable of doing at 50 yards. And you'll notice I'm actually on sandbags here too. So that said, how many of you guys out there that are taking pot shots at deer with a crossbow at 100 yards are actually on sandbags? Not very darn many, I can tell you. You just cut your chances of a quick, clean kill down to next to nothing. Next to nothing. And so, that said, here we go. First shot, 50 yards. We'll see what it'll do. The bolts we're using are the True X bolts from Bear for this bow. They have their own, they have their own full capture knock. That's why we have to use their bolts. And right now, these knocks are not available by themselves to try in other bolts. So anyway, we're going to try to hit 50 yards. We're going to shoot 3 shots. This is going to take a little bit, but here we go. Okay, I'll get my son-in-law here, Brad. He's in charge of our field staff. Get him to cock it for me so I don't have to squirm my way out of this shooting bench.
Right, take time.
Now, I noticed that bolt in the scope. I had this thing shooting pretty much dead on. That 50 yards, that bolt I can see in the scope is a little bit low. A little bit low right, actually. Now that could have been, the right could have been me canting the bow a little bit. The low, not sure. Haven't figured that one out just yet. So, we're going to try her again here. That's better. Okay, one more shot, and then we'll walk up there and we'll show what this thing actually did. Now, I'm not going to lie to anybody. Because people that watch my videos know that I don't lie and I don't fudge stuff just to show or just to highlight a product. Yes, I am a Bear dealer, but it doesn't matter. I hold everybody to the grindstone. They either turn out a good product or people are going to know about it. Now, so far we've had 0 issues with these bows, other than ferns on the foot stirrup. Now, however, these bolts are coming out of China. Everybody out there knows full well what I think of the Chinese right now. And so we're not real sure how consistent these bolts are in weight or straightness. We just don't know. We know what they say about them, but hey, you know, they can say anything, especially the Chinese. Now, so that said, the inconsistency of this bolt could be why that first shot was a little bit low right. The right I might have canned it, but the low, I'm not sure about. So right now I'm gonna blame it on the consistency of the manufacturing of the bolts, but we'll see here. All right, third and final shot. Sounded like it was in the center. Well, we're gonna pop the camera off the tripod and we're gonna walk up here and we're gonna take a look at this group. Can you just carry the tripod?
Yeah, I'll just carry the whole tripod. It's easier that way.
That's too slappy. Like I said, people, for those of you that want to try this at 100 yards, you try it yourself. And I think you'll agree with me that it's an absolutely stupid, asinine stunt to try, especially on an animal. When you see how long it takes that bolt to get there, I think you'll agree.
Especially how slow that bolt is by the time it gets there.
Yeah, absolutely. So people say, well, my bow's shooting 400 foot a second. Granted, that's right off the bow. By the time that son of a gun gets to 100 yards, you're gonna be lucky if that bolt's doing 200 foot a second. You just lost over half or 3/4 of your kinetic energy. So later in the year here, we're gonna do a kinetic energy test with broadheads on crossbows to show you the difference of penetration from 20 to 50. But anyway, that said, let's take a look at this group here. All right, now this is 50 yards. This was my first shot. The little bit to the right, I probably had the bow canted a little bit without realizing it. That's why these long shots on deer are so risky. At 50 yards, you still probably would have been in the kill zone here. At 100, you either got a rear end shot or a face shot. You have to literally double or triple this distance at 100 yards, literally, probably multiplied by 4. All right, but anyway, so multiply that by 4, you'd have been clear over here somewhere. That is a wounded animal that you probably won't be able to recover. But the other two that I paid attention to the cant of the bow, look at that. That is a tight group at 50 yards. Now, also, like I said, we didn't really weigh these bolts, so we don't know exactly how consistent they're made in their construction. And so as soon as these nocks are available by themselves, I can't pull these nocks out of here, they're glued in. As soon as Bear can get me some of these nocks, we're going to try this bow again later in the year with different bolts and see if we can't get a little bit more consistency. But as you can see here, that is perfectly acceptable. That's easily a 1-inch group at 50 yards. And that, folks, is all that matters. Why? Because A, you're more than accurate enough here to dispatch that animal at 50 yards, which is the maximum distance you should be shooting anyway. Please, I encourage everybody, stop listening to the marketing. Stop listening to the advertisements that some of these other companies are saying out there. Just because Raven or whoever it is says that their bow is accurate to 100 yards, that does not condone shooting an animal at 100 yards or even attempting it. Absolutely stupid, absolutely asinine. Anybody that do that shouldn't even be in the woods. So, that said, I'm Albert Moore from Blue Jacket Archery. Until next time, folks, have a great day, and remember to like us and share us on Facebook. Thank you for watching.